Are feral manticores any good? To me, the feral manticore is a unit other rosters borrow from the Beastmen. If for no other reason, I consider this true because that's the version you get from the Lore of Beasts school of magic. At any rate, this is a unit with Rampage. Is it good? It's useful. Please like, subscribe, comment, and consider donating to my Ko-fi page. I'm enjoying my time with the Beastmen roster, and there'll be more in the future. Can't stop, won't stop. So, the Feral Manticore weighs in at 5103 HP and 45 armor. Kind of weak for a single entity. Missile resistance is 15%, which helps get into combat. Leadership is 56, which isn't especially high. Speed is 85, which is actually pretty good considering its size and role. Melee attack is 40, which isn't terrible, and attack interval is 3.6, which is terrifyingly fast compared to slower units. The Manticore attacks a lot. Splash damage affects a maximum of 5 targets. Melee defense is 34, which is mediocre. Charge bonus is 50, which is pretty decent. No more and no less. Weapon strength. Let's slow down slightly and focus on this. The value is 445 with 290 base and 155 armor piercing. That means, in sharp contrast to later single-entity monsters, the Feral Manticore struggles to finish off armored targets. It is bad at Lord sniping if the Lord is armored. Mass is 2000, which helps it dash around and pounce a lot, which it likes to do. What this profile tells you is that the Manticore is just fine roughing up a bunch of ordinary units, but struggles in really big blobs, or against any kind of stiffly armored opponents. The unit inflicts fear and terror, counts as a siege attacker, and can fly. Oh, did I mention it has Rampage? One thing to mention is that it's explicitly stated there's no forest penalty. The Feral Manticore can fight at full strength in a forest or jungle. Good to know. So how do you use the Feral Manticore? Sooner or later, it's going to go more feral than usual, and you will have no control over the outcome. Therefore, what you want is to work with its rage rather than against it. Since it's not a summons, don't leave it isolated if you don't have to. Use it to stop missile units from firing, working with similar units like Harpies, Hounds, and Razorgore Herd. Use it to disrupt regular infantry units and inflict terror, because it is by far your cheapest and easiest source of that. Use it to distract from your cheap infantry, and use cheap infantry to distract from it. Above all, use its ability to fly to get into the fight. After that, it's all up to fate. Well, it's also up to buffs. Beast Lord's Lash in the Lord Red line provides up to plus 6 melee attack and plus 12 charge bonus, both of which simply add to raw damage output. Creatures of the Herd, for the privileged few that reach rank 7, as plus 10% speed, plus 12% charge bonus, and 15% missile resistance. Now let's backtrack for a second. Melee attack goes from 40 and becomes 46. Charge bonus goes from 50 and becomes 74. Speed goes from 85 and becomes 93 or 94, whichever way the engine rounds the number. These are not bad values. Also, missile resistance becomes 30%, which starts being a serious number. Charge bonus will help proportional to your base damage versus AP breakdown, but it's not like the Manticore is helpless against either type of target. If that's how you roll, you do get a benefit for it. Challenges of the Dark Gods. What you really want is Bestial Resilience, especially because it's your only option, but also because that gives a flat 10% physical resistance to your Manticores, considering that they're going to be in brawls both when you want and when you don't want. This is a serious buff to longevity. More to the point, this is not dependent on being rank 7, which might help your Manticore survive that long. In the end, where does that leave us? Well, we have a flying, flexible, not too specialized, rampaging unit that inflicts terror. Even considering the Beastmen use a unit cap system, it's cheap. You might well find them to be expendable, but at the very least, they're there to cause chaos. Not the titular kind so much as the literal kind. If you put your army in position to capitalize on that chaos, then you have something to work with. Also, and this is important, you are limited in the sorts of units you can send onto the walls of settlements. Sending in just harpies is going to get them all cut down. Sending in harpies with a feral manticore or two suddenly makes the wall assault a real threat, and gives you time to get infantry up ladders to help with that even more. A terror-broken unit on a wall is just food. This is something to consider when you don't have endgame monster options. It takes some skill pointing the Manticore in the right direction and getting good results, but you just have to make the best of it and work with the madness, not against it. Make the chaos work for you. Take care, and have fun letting your Manticores off the leash.